Okay, I'm going to do a quick presentation on getting a Prosystemfx workstation set up to work in Windows 8. So I'll try to make this quick and concise. It's a little, there are some technical details, so if you're looking for a solution, I have it. You just might want to write some of these things down because it's not extraordinarily easy to remember, and it's also not exactly. I know of one situation, and so I'm going to describe that situation, and then say what my solution was, and some other things that I did to make the Windows 8 workstation behave more like what one would expect, at least as far as stability is concerned, in the middle of tax season. I mean, you know, I'm doing this in case anybody here on March 2nd or thereabouts to the end of this year goes out and they begrudgingly buy a new computer in the middle of tax season because, you know, one of the ones that they're using happened to die. And it's got Windows 8 on it. You go try to do the workstation setup and you just don't have any success. And I'll explain what that was. When I went looking for help, the best help I can get was to find out someone else had the same problem that I did. And I was fortunate enough, lucky enough to be able to find some answers. So I hope it will be helpful to whoever has this issue, at least for now, until it's resolved by Prosystem or Microsoft or something. So, basic principle is this, that when you go to do the workstation setup, if you don't do it as the pre-built-in administrator that comes with Windows 8 deactivated, and you can't see it if you go into Control Panel, the setup will fail. Now, I'll just quickly go over the parameters that I'm assuming that you're under. You have a server out there with Prosystem, all the binaries resting on that server. You did an installation either at it or from some workstation. And when you go around to update, after you do an update, you go around to the desks and you double-click Workstation Update, and you know, either you deploy icons or you have it run from the local drive or whatever, and then, you know, once that's done, you restart and everybody else can get back to work. The symptom of the error that comes up, and it was described by someone that posted this at the CCH community. He's having workstation setup problems in Windows 8, and this is what he said. He said, and then I'll comment on a few of the support perhaps responses. I don't know, but support memos that were out there at the time when I wrote this that really didn't lead to an answer, but looked like they might have. And he says, I just completed the updated Prosystemfx Tax 2012-01, and he just upgraded the server to Windows 2008, and that appears to have completed successfully. And then he has a couple Windows 7 workstations, no problems when he runs the workstation. But then when he goes to Windows 8, he gets a message that says, failed to connect to network drive, exiting. And then there's another message that says, Prosystemfx does not support the detected operating system. And then, you know, he's basically saying, you know, I've mounted the network share, and he doesn't understand what's going on here. And I think he even mentions that he has I have used both standard users as well as administrator accounts when connecting the network drive with the same results in either case. And he wanted to know if there's any suggestions. Now, his question went unanswered until February 28th when I made my post. I did see a few items on the Prosystemfx support site that were just there and ready to go because they were the hot issues. And one of them said that if you have the error where it says failed to connect to the network drive exiting, you had to wait for 2012-02. Well, in my case, I had already upgraded to 2012-02, so that wasn't the answer. The next, I think there was some other issue, and maybe it'll come up when I do just go over this. But basically, this is what you need to do. What you need to do is, first of all, you need to get to the desktop. So I'm going to trust you'll be able to figure out how to do that. Basically, when you go into Windows 8, you'll see the Metro user interface in the bottom left-hand corner. There's a little box that vaguely looks somewhat like it might be promising as far as the desktop is concerned. Yes, go ahead and go in there. Now, the next problem you have is actually getting to a command prompt. And getting to the command prompt as the administrator. In fact, I probably should take that back and say that you can go into the Metro user interface and you could search for command prompt. The command prompt will come up. Don't click on it right away, but kind of hover over it, and you'll see at the bottom it'll say Run as Administrator, and that's exactly what you want to do. So you click on Run it as Administrator, and the command prompt will open up. And what you need to do is you need to activate, and this is not going to make any sense to you, but just do it. You need to activate the pre-installed administrator account in Windows 8. Now you might be telling yourself, well, I'll just go into Control Panel and make this person an administrator. It's not the answer. That's why I'm pointing this out. That's why I'm telling you to go to Command Prompt. Because the pre-installed administrator has more administrative rights than any new user you can set up with administrative rights, and that's the way it is. You can even call the new user administrator and give itself administrative privileges and control panel, but when you try to do certain things, you're not going to have success. So you have to activate it, and the way you activate that in the command prompt is by typing come on, where is it? Okay. It's like this. In fact, maybe I'll just type it up here. I already have it, so it's not going to give me the response that you're going to get. But it is net in there. Net, N-E-T space, administrator. Is that what it is? Make sure that's right. Sorry, net user and administrator. Where was that? Then /active :yes. Now you press enter there, and then it should give you a message: successfully activated the administrator. Okay, now you're in pretty good shape. At this stage, you can go in, and if your network share is mapped, you have to log out of whatever account you're in and just log in. You know, go to the if you can go to sign out. I mean, I happen to have the start is back feature here, so I have the luxury of saying sign out. But whatever way you could figure out how to sign out and log back in is this new account, you'll see that it's available. Administrator, capital A-D-M-I-N, it's not admin, anything else, administrator. You log in there. Oh, and I think before you log in there, probably be a good idea to give that administrator user a password. So once you go into Control Panel, in fact, I'll be able to show you this. Let's see if I say manage another account. This is the one I'm talking about right here. You probably want to give it a password, I think. So give it a password. It's back over here. You click on that, and you can change the password up there. then log out, and then you log back in as administrator. Of course, supplying the password, because this is the highest level account. This has full privileges in the system beyond what you can give any user yourself. Even if you say if they're an administrator, it won't have as many rights as you have with this account. And you need this much rights to actually install Prosystemfx for whatever reason. That's the answer. Then you do your workstation setup. Now, if you still have the Metro user interface, during the middle of the setup, the blue screen will appear. It isn't a blue screen of death, it's just the Metro user interface. It'll delay because it wants to install Microsoft Silverlight and I think XML for the first time on your workstation. It seems like it might take a long time, but just be patient. Let it go through it. It's not as ugly or look as broken if you actually go and buy this program called Start is Back. And basically what that does is give you the start menu back, which is very nice to have. I like to have it because I at least like to actually know what I have installed. And I like to, anyway, I'm not going to get on that diatribe. Okay, so anyway, once it's done installing, you're not going to see Prosystemfx Tax on the desktop. And the one thing that is negative about Start is Back is that when Microsoft abandoned the Start menu, they're doing everything they can to bring it back, but they can't bring it back fully. So there are times when you go to the Start menu, you go to a program, and you'll try to, double click on, say, that Logitech there that I'm using now. Sometimes you'll click on it, and the program icon just won't appear. And what it's doing, I believe, and I'm not involved with the Start is Back developers, but what I think it's doing is it's scanning a certain subdirectory periodically to see whether there have been any changes to present them here. Where is that subdirectory? Well, it's very important. You do want to know this because if you want to have the icons on your desktop, what you need to do is basically copy and paste it to the user's account. You probably don't want a regular user to be logging in as this capital A administrator. You want the other one that you already had set up or that came with the computer. You want them to use that. Nonetheless, so you go over here to C drive, and it's in the program data folder, and you're not going to see that program data folder until you do this. Go to View, and you check the Show Hidden Items box. If you didn't check that, you're not going to see program data. It's a hidden directory. Then you go into program data, and you go down to Microsoft. Then you go down to Windows, and there you go. There's Start menu. And I don't know if this is very clear, but there's programs, and these are all your Start menu items. So it's it. Program data, Microsoft, Windows, Start menu, programs, all in there. And down here is Prosystemfx. All the stuff that you would probably want your users to be able to easily access on the desktop. You just copy it, go back up to C, and you go to Users, and in my case the other user is Jack. Desktop, copy, right click, paste, and then it'll appear right there, and then they can go in, they can do what they need to do. That's the very basic stuff. I really strongly suggest that, and I'm assuming this is this is in the middle of tax season, right? If you want your user to be able to have some vague familiarity with how to find things and run programs, it's probably it's a very good idea to get some kind of program that's going to bring the Start menu back. I happen to like Start is Back. It's worked better for me. I've tried the Retro UI. I have it installed on another computer, but I like this better. Because it looks like, the one from before. Also, I just thought of something else and I forgot what that was. But I think that pretty much should do it, though. So you got your, oh yeah, here's the last thing. This is what it is. You probably also want to have it set up so when the computer's turned on, it'll just automatically log in the user. if you're comfortable with that in your situation at your CPA firm. You may not be, but if you are and you have a secure enough environment, it's probably a good idea to do that, because then you avoid the Metro user interface altogether and having to log in and whatever minor confusion that might arise from that. Because in the beginning, when you first boot into Windows 8, it just shows you like a drawn picture of the skyline of Seattle or something. And then you have to figure out, you have to press the window key to get to the login screen to get back in. So that should be it. So I hope this was helpful to somebody. I went into all the details about how I resolved the issue and how I figured this all out at the website community.cchgroup.com/message/1383 and then STHASH 8RMZBQN0.DPUF if you're interested, or you can search for the terms in Google. Prosystemfx Tax Workstation setup problems with Windows 8. I added some more information about what I did to make it a little more, make the desktop look like it usually does, or people are used to. Especially, you don't want someone learning a new interface. You may not want someone learning a new interface in the middle of tax season, or having to deal with the other things that get in the way of just clicking on the icon and going in the middle of tax season. And at the beginning, I went into every detail of my issue. And that should be it.